Hello everyone and welcome back to Godsaw's Turnbuckle, and in this video we're going to go on a little bit of a different side of everything where I kind of give my own thoughts and opinions on a particular subject. Usually I don't go around the news side of everything, or at least talk about what's happened in the wrestling news, because it's not usually something I really go about, but I figure with how big this ended up being, I eventually was going to have to talk about it anyway, or wanted to talk about it anyway in that sense. And of course, we are talking about CM Punk and getting fired from AEW. Basically, everything happening at from everything that happened at All In, there was an altercation backstage. It was reported by many different outlets, Fightful Select with Sean Ross Sapp, Dave Meltzer. All the wrestling outlets were, talking about this, which is, well, what you would probably what you would kind of expect. And I think a lot of people probably know what it is. I'll kind of briefly go through everything, what ended up happening. We also, what happened during Jack Perry's match with Hook, where he basically says, like, this is real glass, cry me a river, and it caused an altercation backstage with CM Punk, who was getting ready to go out there to face Samoa Joe. And there's multiple reports on this, and you have one side saying Jack Perry approached and got in CM Punk's face first, and then eventually led to a few blows. There's also the other side saying it's like, no, it was CM Punk that got in his face first, and then actually went ahead and threw the first blows to go along with that. I think pretty much everything came down to, I think both sides basically made it to where, yes, Punk did throw the first punches to go along with that. Apparently there was a few other things that happened as well. And honestly, if it was just this as a backstage scuffle, I don't think he really would be fired over this. I think the thing that actually got him fired in this case was his altercations with Tony Khan itself, which were obviously not pleasant in the gorilla position to begin with there, because he just got off of everything with Jack Perry and his altercation there, with that one, as they tried to calm everything down to, actually get the match out there with him and Samoa Joe, which obviously if you watched All In, that did happen. Yes, it was a good match to go along with that. And but apparently there was another incident backstage that was a little bit more in a private setting, where CM Punk was reportedly, we'll say reportedly, on this, lunged at Tony Khan, which if that was the case, in the terms of what's being reported by everybody, and that actually happened, that's probably what got him fired right there. You're going after your boss at that point in time. At least that's what I would personally have felt, to go along with it. And honestly, since CM Punk had gotten back, things had been kind of contentious as well. Obviously, we had everything with the All Out situation from the year before during the press conference, and then the brawl with the Elite. With that one, it had been reported throughout the weeks since he had come back that it was reported that certain people were not allowed to show up at Collision. People like Christopher Daniels, apparently Matt Hardy was in there, Hangman Adam Page. It's been reported that they were quote unquote banned from showing up at Collision tapings with everything. And obviously rumors went out there, is like, oh, Punk's saying they can't show up. It was probably that one's hard to really say if that's actually the case on that, or if that was something where it's like, you know what, we just won't have like maybe the higher ups, or like a Tony Khan saying that, you know what, we just won't have these guys show up there, it could cause a problem, try to subvert the any particular issues that are out there, instead of trying to solve the issues to begin with, which honestly comes on both sides, on all sides along with that. When it comes down to it, based off of what's being reported out there, And if it's completely true, I see why they got rid of CM Punk. He is, since uh, basically since the stuff with Hangman Adam Page, it's kind of been very contentious and not very pleasant in the terms of the backstage, especially with CM Punk on that one. And now I do preface that as a person who was very excited that CM Punk came back in. Also, I would say his matches in AEW had been really good. Also, his storylines had been really good as well. So, like, you take all the backstage stuff there. All right, you take basically everything in the in-ring. If you got him on camera, it was good stuff that was out there. But there was too much baggage going on backstage to probably keep him around. And like I said, if he lunged at Tony Khan, yeah, you're probably going to get fired on that one. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jack Perry as well in this case, because as of right now, he is indefinitely suspended to go along with everything. In the terms of how, it's hard to really put the. I know people always put blame and everything to go along with it, and I don't find any side really to be 100% at fault in this particular case. Jack Perry was very much not liking the fact that he could not use a real glass spot a few weeks ago. Apparently it wasn't like okay. It may have been okayed on Wednesday night, but it was happening on Collision, and then the trainers and coaches backstage is like, nah, we really shouldn't be using real glass. And CM Punk got in there as well with that. So it got cleared for the All In pay-per-view to use real glass during their match with him and Hook, but it wasn't. But him making that comment there, honestly, was. I won't say looking to provoke anything at that point, but it did, with how heated things had gotten at that time, it was a comment that was probably going to cause an altercation of some kind, at least verbally. It ended up being a physical one. CM Punk, on this side of everything, he decided he didn't really handle the situation well himself, because, it was just a line that he said. And I guess it was reported that, based upon the reports, like, Punk went to Jack Perry after the match, got in his face and said, "What? It's like, you got a problem?" It's like, and apparently Perry was like, "Well, I was just trying to get some heat to go along with it, trying to downplay it." So he didn't handle the situation well. Also, caused a fight backstage. Also, potentially, reportedly had quit at that point, had to be calmed down, and actually put his match with Samoa Joe at risk by getting into a physical altercation before going out there to go along with it. And all sides really don't. They have to bear the. All sides kind of have to bear the blame there. It starts at one thing and it gets to that point. And honestly, a person who also probably deserves a little bit of blame in the situation is Tony Khan himself. Mainly for not having these issues resolved, or getting them to the point of being where there's no, I won't say they would have to like each other or anything like that, but it's like, everybody's going to act professional with everything. And let's be fair, a lot of people didn't act professional with this one to go along with it. I would primarily say the person who was probably the least professional in this was CM Punk to go along with it. But Tony Khan has to bear some of that blame as well, because it does feel like a lot of things run backstage are run by the wrestlers. Tony Khan's kind of just booking things and getting people out there, but he's not the one firmly in control. At least it doesn't seem that way. I mean, I could be completely wrong about that as well. But for not trying to potentially squash these issues or anything like that, or being that presence to potentially do that, he himself probably does have to bear a little bit of the blame to go along with it. And it's just a very hard situation here. I don't even know if I've really spoken this well or anything on my end. It's something I'm going to try doing and trying to convey my own thoughts out to everything. And hopefully, with how everything goes, it's, CM Punk's out of AEW at this point. It'll be interesting to see what CM Punk does after the fact. Because in terms of like wrestling, does he still want to wrestle? He is at an older age at this point. And B, where would he go to begin with? Like if he wanted to do WWE, there's a lot of things to work out there in WWE because of his issues when he left to begin with. You do have places like MLW and Impact that, have TV contracts here in America. But would they pay CM Punk that type of money to come in to those shows to go along with that? I would imagine there would be some thought about New Japan Pro Wrestling, though I think with their relationship with AEW, I doubt they would touch CM Punk. Now, in fairness, you can, you could have CM Punk do New Japan shows and have nothing to do with the AEW guys that would show up in New Japan when they do those things, like at Wrestle Kingdom or for the G1 Climax or anything like that. But I like, because they have that relationship with AEW, I don't think they would even want to go that way and go and try to get a CM Punk. So it does limit where he would be able to go at this point in time. It will be interesting to see what happens on that one. In the terms of everything, it's kind of sad that we are having to talk about something like this in the news, and you've even seen that with a lot of the other news outlets. It's like they're kind of getting tiresome of doing it, but people are interested in it. And it's kind of sad that that's the main focus around the new wrestling news at this point, because, well, we just got off of a week where there were 3 pay-per-views, one of which was a stadium show that wasn't run by WWE. It's at least for American-based companies, it's probably one of the first times in quite some time that that a company ran a stadium show that is an American-based company. Obviously, we know New Japan does the Tokyo Dome, which is a stadium every year. But it's not often other companies actually run stadium shows. And this was their first one, drawing over 80,000 people. And then you had 2 more pay-per-views right after that as well. And let's be honest, with all 3 of those shows, they all had really good matches and were actually a lot of fun to go along with it. AEW's All In, WWE's Payback, and AEW's All Out. All those shows were actually a lot of fun and actually really good to their own degree, and had spectacular matches. And not just like saying, oh, they have one spectacular match. No, they each had multiple what I would consider spectacular or really good matches on there. And it's sad that we have to talk about a particular backstage incident versus what we're actually seeing on our television screens to begin with. But that's pretty much everything I have on this. I hope I conveyed this well in some way, shape, or form. If you did like everything, feel free to hit the like button. Hey, if you disliked it as well, feel free to hit that dislike button as well. Do consider, if you did like everything again, consider, hitting subscribe or sharing the video as well, trying to boost the channel up a little bit more. And with that being said, though, I hope you all take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great rest of your day.